You have probably been told to never judge people by their appearances, because what you see on the outside might be misleading. In this video, I will show you why you should judge people by their facial features, and why it's not misleading and highly accurate. I will prove that facial features indicate personality and characteristics. I will also debunk the myth that physiognomy is a pseudoscience, using clear evidence from biology, psychology, and empirical research. If you're not familiar with physiognomy, it is the science of identifying people's characteristics and personality through their facial features. And by the end of this video, you will never look at faces the same way again. The human face has 43 muscles that are highly specialized for micro-expressions. Humans everywhere, across all cultures, tribes, and even blind people from birth, use the same set of facial muscles to express the same core emotions. Facial expressions are caused by the engagement of facial muscles, and facial muscles are very similar to skeletal muscles. Muscles under stress can become thicker, shortened, or tightened. If you have ever sat with bad posture for a long time, your chest muscles gradually get tight and your shoulders start to pull forward. That is because the muscles adapt to the position you use the most. The same principle applies to your facial muscles. If you keep experiencing the same emotions over and over, you repeatedly use the same facial muscles. Over time, those muscles can tighten and shorten, leaving visible marks of your emotional habits on your face. According to physiognomy or face reading, a downturned mouth while the face is at rest is an indication that a person is pessimistic and that a person carries sadness. It also indicates that a person has a skeptical outlook. A downturned mouth often develops from repeatedly experiencing the emotion of sadness. Over time, the constant use of the same muscles results in a mouth that naturally rests in a downturned position. Another example can be seen in positively tilted eyebrows, which indicates that a person is bold and quick to act. This expression forms because experiencing anger or an adrenaline surge activates the muscles responsible for pulling the eyebrows upward and inward, creating the positively tilted shape. The same applies to the lower eyelid. When a person carefully analyzes or observes something, the muscles under the eyes tighten. Instead of having a curved lower eyelid, it becomes straighter. If someone keeps on repeating this habit, their lower eyelid can remain straight even when their face is at rest. Real-life examples of this can be seen in soldiers who went through war. Here we can see a picture before going to war and during war, and after returning from war. It is clear that the eye area has changed because of the emotions this soldier went through. We can see another example in this guy. The eye area and the mouth area also have changed. These are the pictures of a soldier who went through the World War. Again, the mouth area has changed and the eye area. His eyebrows became chaotic, which indicates that his thoughts became chaotic. Chaotic or messy eyebrows are common among many homeless people, for example, because many of them have conflicting thoughts. You can also observe the before and after pictures of drug addicts. People who abuse drugs go through severe mental and emotional issues. Their facial features also change. Some of them develop abnormal facial features, which reflect the abnormal characteristics they gained. These examples show that the face is not random. The face is a record of our repeated emotions and mental state. There is a clear pattern. You can also see a clear pattern in extreme cases like Down syndrome and other types of syndromes. People with Down syndrome share similar facial features. They also share similar characteristics and tendencies. They all have low IQ. They also tend to be friendly and sociable. People with Prader-Willi syndrome also have a mild to moderate intellectual disability. They get easily irritated. They are stubborn, and they have difficulty with controlling food consumption, and they all look similar. People with Fragile X syndrome have mild to severe intellectual disability. They have autism-like features. They have social anxiety, and they all look the same. Again, there is a clear pattern with these examples. If the correlation between facial features and characteristics is too strong in extreme cases like syndromes, then the same must be true in the norm. Facial features are not the causation of having certain characteristics, but gaining certain characteristics will reflect on your facial features. There are many factors that play a role in this. Genes and hormones are some of the factors that influence both your facial features and your characteristics. The same set of genes that shape the brain also shape the skull, bones, and facial structure. Genes that regulate hormones like testosterone, estrogen, and cortisol influence both brain development, which affects personality, temperament, and behaviors, and facial bone structure, which defines jawline, brow ridge, facial width, and other facial features. Testosterone affects dominance, sex drive, and at the same time it creates a stronger jawline, a thicker brow ridge, and deeper set eyes. Estrogen affects emotional sensitivity and also makes facial features softer and causes less angular bone structure. You can clearly see that in cases where bodybuilders abuse steroids. Their facial features change and their behavioral tendencies also change. That's why the term roid rage is a thing. Also, you can see that in cases where males abuse estrogen. They become more emotional and feminine. In physiognomy, strong facial features like a wide, prominent jaw indicates high desire for being in control or being in charge. Deep-set eyes indicate that a person is analytical, observant, and reserved. A bony face indicates that a person is less emotional and more stoic. Soft and round facial features like big round eyes indicate emotional sensitivity and strong emotions in general. A narrow jaw indicates a weak desire for dominance or being in charge. A narrow face indicates that a person is less adaptable to unfamiliar situations and more hesitant. There are some studies that associate facial width with high levels of testosterone in men. You can clearly observe those characteristics in people who have those facial features. I got some stupid comments on the previous video that I have uploaded that says Mark Zuckerberg is more dominant than the people who have very masculine facial features. Having influence over the tech field doesn't mean dominance in real-life social dynamics. Being smart and cunning doesn't equate to having a strong dominant character. If you had to choose between having a problem with a person who looks like Mark or a person who looks like the guy on the right, who would you choose? Anyone who would pick the person on the right would be so stupid that if you did an X-ray scan on them, you would find their brain located inside their ass. Even if you don't know about physiognomy and you don't know how to analyze faces, by just looking at people's faces, you subconsciously make judgments about them. The reason is the human brain links certain characteristics to certain facial features. Your brain subconsciously recognizes patterns. This is an established fact in psychology, demonstrated through concepts such as first impressions, thin slicing, and stereotyping. Nothing is random. Stereotypes exist for a reason. You can't go against your senses. Yes, genetics play a role in how you look, but genetics also play a role in your characteristics, the way you look, your intelligence, and many other traits. Other factors also play a role in how you look. External factors can influence your hormones, for example, and hormones can influence your facial features. Having low levels of oxytocin, for example, can raise your cortisol. High cortisol can disrupt the hair growth cycle, leading to shedding or thinning of eyebrow hairs. The hormone oxytocin plays a role in attachment and social bonding. In physiognomy, short eyebrows indicate low support network and emotional isolation. Emotional isolation leads to low oxytocin levels. Low oxytocin can elevate cortisol, which leads to hair shedding and thinning. Eyebrow hairs are strongly influenced by hormones. Androgens like testosterone and DHT control the cycle of hair follicles. Higher androgen activity generally stimulates thicker, coarser eyebrow hairs. That's why some of the people who are on TRT grow back thicker eyebrows. So even diet, lifestyle, and external factors can influence your facial features and characteristics. In physiognomy, very thick eyebrows indicate high energy and vitality. They also might indicate impulsiveness and the tendency to be easily frustrated or hot-tempered, depending on the rest of the facial features. With all that said, no one fully understands how the human body functions. Stupid arguments like you can't prove anything without lab tests doesn't debunk the fact that facial features and characteristics are strongly correlated. Also, you can't have ethical control tests on humans to prove their characteristics and tendencies. Humans are not monkeys or lab mice. What you can do is observe the characteristics and tendencies of people who you interact with. Physiognomy is a real science that is underdeveloped. Physiognomy is in fact extremely accurate. You can know many things about people from observing their facial features. You can know their tendencies, proclivities, information about their interpersonal relationships, and many other characteristics. I have received many feedbacks from people proving just how accurate their face analysis were. Everyone I have worked with has given positive feedback, and many were shocked by how precise and personal the information was. I share every feedback openly, and if I ever receive negative feedbacks, I'll share that too, because I'm confident in the accuracy of what I'm doing. If you would like to experience this for yourself, you can reach through the links below to get the face analysis service. So you might ask, why is physiognomy considered a pseudoscience if it is legit? The main reason is because of this man, Georg Christoph Lichtenberg, a German scientist and philosopher who debunked the work of Johann Caspar Lavater, who was the most famous physiognomist at that time. Lavater believed that criminals could be identified through their facial features. Lichtenberg debunked the work of Lavater by analyzing the pictures of criminals. He found no correlation between the facial features that Lavater believed to be common among criminals and the tendency to commit crimes. So basically, just because one man was wrong, some people claim that physiognomy is false. And put in mind, those people lived 200 years ago. So the tools and methods they used is not as effective as what we have today. Deep neural networks can predict the sexual orientation of people with accuracy rates that reach up to 81% for males and 74% for females. And this study was published in 2018. So you could just imagine what AI in the future can know about you from your facial features. So even machines can recognize patterns in the correlation between human facial features and characteristics. Another reason that physiognomy is not widely accepted is because of the fear of racism, discrimination and stereotypes. Yes, we all know that racism is not good, but stereotypes exist for a reason. It is normal for certain characteristics and facial features to be common among certain ethnicities or groups of people. There are many examples of people having similar facial features and similar characteristics. Biological twins have similar characteristics and similar facial features. Also, there is a documentary you can watch about unrelated identical strangers. In this documentary, they found people who looked similar and had similar characteristics. Some people just can't accept the fact that their facial features reflect their characteristics. This might be because of low self-esteem, but facts don't care about people's emotions. Feel free to share your suggestions for future videos in the comments section or by reaching out to me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to learn more about physiognomy.